We're finally back.
Boys are back.
After almost, I think, 2 months. Oh, my levels are too high. After almost 2 months of a hiatus, we're finally back.
Well, we had to take the off season so we could prepare for the XFL.
Yes. I think we originally planned that we'd start this back in January, but then cost money to buy microphones and stuff, and I'm just abusing the rules of at a location that I know of, So in this episode, I believe this is our 10th episode. I'm not really entirely sure, but we are going to talk about wrap up the NFL season because the Super Bowl just happened not too long ago. As of this recording, it happened this past Sunday. So first, we're gonna dive into the playoffs. Go round by round, and I guess the first playoff game we'll talk about was on a Saturday. It was the Chiefs. No. It was the Bills and the Texans.
It was the first wild card game.
Yeah, and that game was the worst one to watch. I think that was the worst playoff game the whole season.
Yeah. You know what's ironic is looking back. You know how the Bills' first game they came back down 16-0
against
to the Jets, and then they
yeah.
blew a 16-0 lead to end their season.
Yeah.
No, that game.
Josh Allen is something else, man. He is terrible.
Yeah, his highlights literally consist of him making this ridiculous 50-yard throw to overshadow all the third and 8 throws that he misses, the ones that actually change the game, not the 150-yard play that you hit. But that game, it's one thing when it's a 16-0 game or a 7, it's a low scoring, but it's a defensive battle.
Yeah.
You know how the Panthers Broncos Super Bowl was it was a defensive battle, but offenses were moving, defenses
they weren't
were
inept.
Yeah, but this game was just a slop fest.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
It literally looked like neither team wanted to win this game, and then the Bills, they ran out of steam because they used up all their trick plays in the first drive.
Yeah, they did that one touchdown pass to Josh Allen.
Yeah, and then you saw their offense literally struggle the rest of the game because they used up all their trick plays.
Yeah, the Bills are in a funny situation because it's they have enough talent to do something, not win a Super Bowl, but
they could have won their division.
Yes, they have enough talent to do that, but Josh Allen is holding them back. And they say it's a copycat league, and you saw the Jaguars had that situation in 2017, the Bears in 2018, even now, and now the Bills. Just teams like to be well made and whatnot, but they have one glaring weakness, and it's always the quarterback. But the Bills, however, they're not stuck with him, so I would get rid of him. There's definitely someone better than him out there. He's terrible when there's pressure. He just panics. I think towards the game, don't you remember he almost fumbled it? He tried lateraling it when he was getting tackled, and he just threw it.
Yeah, that one.
He just panics.
The Bills head coach was McDermott.
Yeah, Sean McDermott.
He hasn't proven anything he's that good of a coach because
they went for 4th and 29.
Well, what was it? They got it was 4th and 27.
Yeah.
And then
he rolls out to his left.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind they had all 3 timeouts. So all they needed was a field goal.
And they're at the 30, 40, their own 30, 40-yard line, right?
Yeah, so they could have punted it and pinned the Texans and relied on their best part of their team, their defense, to stop them.
Yeah.
And then get the ball back with probably a minute, and then they have to go get a field goal. I mean, but instead, 4th and 27,
he rolls out to his left.
No, it was 4th and 22, right? Or something
it was something ridiculous.
Then they got a penalty to make it 4th and 27, and then Josh Allen literally all he does is the one spin move to his left,
which is dumb because he's a right hand. You'd think he'd like to roll to his right.
And then so he spins back, starts running backwards, gets sacked, and then he gets sacked at their own 40. He literally scrambled back an extra 15 yards.
Yeah, he is something else.
And then they're lucky that Bill O'Brien is possibly just
one of the dumbest coaches ever. Because then he decides to go for on 4th down.
They stop him.
Yeah, they get turnover down. Then they manage to...
And he almost fumbled it on the next drive, Josh Allen.
I know.
He literally threw it as he's getting tackled to the guy. I was like, this is just neither team wants to win this game.
It's just neither coach is... They're too excited because they're both trying to get that big first playoff W. And they're just too excited and overwhelmed with their emotions. They don't know what to do.
Yeah, what was it? Bill O'Brien's only 2 playoff wins.
Oh yeah, he won before. He won against the Raiders though, and that's when they had
third. Yeah, he literally had to beat.
I think it was Connor Cook or something.
He had to beat 2 inept quarterbacks.
Yeah,
and then they go next week and
they go to Foxborough and they just get spanked.
Well, not this year.
I thought around 2016.
Yeah, well that year. Yeah.
But I think the worst part of this game was definitely the announcing. Like, people hate on
my
Booger. Yeah,
God.
Booger's pretty bad, but Joe Tessitore
like,
is just the worst.
I think, and then also too,
He is horrible.
People use this game to hype up Deshaun Watson. It was like
He was playing pretty bad, too.
they were only down 16-0. It's not like they were down like 28-0
or 24-0.
Yeah, there were 2 scores.
Yeah.
It's not.
And the way the Bills, it's not like the Bills were some offensive juggernaut where they're just moving at will.
Yeah.
They're just kind of staggering around.
Yeah, it was just the announcing, the
Joe Tessitore is probably
was terrible.
I used to think Joe Buck was probably the worst play-by-play, but Joe Tessitore might be the worst.
Yeah, and you got Captain Hindsight Booger McFarland calling it next to him.
Because when he scored that touchdown, when he ran in, Joe Tessitore was like, he just wills it. I says, I'm better than you.
His will is stronger than yours. I was like, dude, he just scored a touchdown. He didn't overcome
And J.J. Watt too. He was hyping up, gets 1 sack. The Bills' defense had 7 sacks the entire game. Like, Jerry Hughes had like 2.5 maybe. Yeah. J.J. Watt gets a sack, and then he goes crazy.
Like, he scored a touchdown. Like, he made it seem like this guy was, like, battling some life-threatening disease.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He beat lymphoma.
Yeah, like, he scored a touchdown, like, and then...
And he flexed.
Yeah, he's strong.
Yeah, that's how he broke out of that tackle.
He smelled his finger.
Yeah, I wonder where it's been.
Yeah, and then I'm pretty when we were watching the game, you could just hear the Texan fanboy and Joe Tessitore when they were driving, and at one point
he's like, "We need this."
Yeah, we need this. Like, what?
You think he was the Texans' personal announcer?
Yeah.
You think he was their radio announcer?
Yeah, like Paul Allen for the Vikings.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You could understand why he
John
gets
Papa.
so into it. Yeah. Why do you even ponder passing?
Yeah, that poor man. So then the next game was the Titans and Patriots.
First off, neither one of the Texans or Bills should have won that game. That game, first off, the Bills one was like they had a shot to be like the 3rd seed, and it all
comes back to Josh Allen being an idiot when they played the Patriots the first time. Well, they should have beat them.
Yeah, and the people were like, "Oh, he got hurt," but I was like, he had like 3 or 4 interceptions,
and his interceptions weren't just your typical bounce off receiver's hands. He was just making dumb reads. Yeah. Throwing it when 2 Patriots were there. Yeah. Bottom line, Josh Allen's terrible.
Yeah, and the Bills, it's like if they had to score more than 20 points, they would lose. Their offense just could not conjure it up. Couldn't dial it up. Yeah, and then the next one, the Saints.
We didn't talk about the Titans and Patriots.
Oh, yeah.
So.
I mean, we should have a 12-minute moment of silence for Tom.
Yeah. In memoriam. Because when they lost... It was so comical to see that CBS had it in memoriam style for Tom.
Yeah,
it showed his career highlights.
I guarantee you Tony Romo didn't want to announce any more games the rest of the playoffs. He was done.
I love the fact though that 2-yard Tom, as your dad has coined him, last possible throw as a Patriot. I don't think it is, but if it is, that'd be pretty sweet. Is a pick 6.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But you know what was so funny was
Romo.
The pick 6 about Romo. You could just hear that he couldn't handle the reality of their Patriots situation. He was trying to no
one's ever going to do this again.
Yeah, and then also he goes, "This actually might help the Patriots." I was like, "What? Tom Brady can't throw a 90-yard ball, nor can he."
There's 9 seconds left. Yeah, you got to go 75 yards, and he can't throw over 30 yards.
They couldn't get 50 yards in the Super Bowl 42 against the Giants when they had Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Stop. That game, the Titans were just the better team. They showed up and ran it right down their throat. And the Patriots' offense, they were exposed all year, but they couldn't do anything.
Yeah, because Logan Ryan should have had 2 pick 6s, but
Yeah. Well, Tom telepathically told him no.
Yeah.
Stop it.
He said, "This one's coming right for you, and I'm going to test you as a competitor."
Yeah. That's how much of a true teammate he is. Even when his teammates leave, he's still a teammate. But no, and the game was really won for the Titans and lost for the Patriots with that goal line stand. When the Patriots
they're
got
at 1 or 2.
Yeah,
they
held them. That was the game.
Yeah.
And then
Titans played well.
Yeah, Derrick Henry went off.
Yeah. The Patriots had I think they're top against passing. They're pretty good against the run too. They just couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
He was just. It looked like he had something against them.
Yeah. I love Romo was saying how we'll never see a dynasty like this again. I was like, I mean,
it's like broken into 2 parts.
Yeah, they had for the
or 3 parts. There's 3 parts of the dynasty.
The early 2000s, yeah, people forget. They make it seem like this was
There's
all
a 10-year gap.
Big,
yeah,
there was. So like you had their
01, 03, 04.
Yeah, and then from 05 to
2013,
they didn't win. They went to 2 Super Bowls and lost.
Yeah.
And then they lost the AFC Championship
against
twice.
the Broncos, yeah. And it was in that time period too where people were starting to be like, think, is this the end of them? Because in 08 Brady got injured. 09 they got knocked out of the first round. 2010 they got knocked out of the first round. And 2011 they lost the Super Bowl. 2012 they lost in the championship. In 2013 they lost against the Broncos.
They lost back-to-back.
When it was Super Bowl 49, people were like they're saying this could be like, if they lose, what would this say for Tom? And they should have lost that Super Bowl.
He realistically should be 4-5 in the Super Bowls.
Yeah, I mean, if Kyle Shanahan, we'll get to him later.
The Seahawks fumbled that game. They literally threw that game away.
Yeah,
and then the Falcons.
I don't know how you do that. Oh my God, but Kyle Shanahan knows
realistically, and then all right, so they beat the Rams. You give them that game. They were the better team. They shut down the Rams. He should be 4-5.
Yeah.
And then you know what? He's made it to that many Super Bowls. Great, but I mean,
he just got that team is so lucky when it matters.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I guess people also forget the 2003 one against the Panthers where is it Carney?
His game-winning drive. Yeah,
he got kicked out of bounds.
He only had to go like 40 yards. No,
not
20.
Even.
20.
Yeah, not even.
Yeah, the
numbnut
Panthers
kicked it out of bounds.
Game. They tied the game, and then the ensuing kickoff, the Panthers kicks out of bounds. So Brady he gets out his own 40.
Yeah.
And then also too, like if you look at the Rams Super Bowl, their defense was playing. Yeah, he had like 100 and something yards.
And they won 65.
Yeah, and also on that game-winning drive,
he dumped it off.
Yeah, every pass was like a 5-yard pass. The Rams just were backing up. I mean, look, credit to their offense to just take what the. But
the defense was the real hero.
People make it seem like
game.
He's like running around making these ridiculous plays, but their defense also held one of the greatest offenses
of all time
to 17 points, right?
That was 14. Oh, is it 20-17?
Yeah, to 17 points.
Yeah.
Well, Tom did it.
And that out of 20 points, Ty Law had a pick 6.
Yeah. So the Patriots offense only had 13 points. And look, I mean, credit to him. I mean, to come in and do that because
it was like his first year starting.
But they were at that point with Drew Bledsoe. You know
they made it to the Super Bowl a couple years ago with Drew Bledsoe. Yeah. The Packers are just the better team.
Yeah, and then you come in, you get a better coach with Belichick.
Yeah, I mean, he had Parcells, is pretty good, but Belichick's the best.
Yeah, I mean, that's also, people don't give Belichick enough credit for what he's done with this team. Yeah,
Gets a bunch of like Walmart bag employees as receivers.
If you look at but that's a testament to their defense because I think there's maybe 5 times in Brady's career, his 20-year career, that he hadn't had a defense that was top 10.
You were probably right.
That's ridiculous. No, I looked it up and it was something like it was ridiculous.
I know when he won the Super Bowl those 6 times, he had at least a top 10 defense. And one of those years, they had the top ranked defense. It was against the Panthers.
Sure, they had a top ranked defense.
Well, they didn't.
But still, but their defense still held them to 13 points.
Yeah,
or 14
for what team?
The Titans.
Yeah,
because the Titans only got the pick 6. They got the pick 6.
No, they 14 points.
Mm-hmm.
And credit though to the Titans defense.
Yeah,
spanked them.
Well, Tom didn't have his weapons.
He didn't have his receivers.
But I don't get that.
Well, those are the people that were calling Edelman a Hall of Famer last year.
Yeah, when they won,
Mr. 5,000 yards receiving.
Yeah,
a Hall of Famer. No, thank you. No way.
Oh no, but those are also the same people. Well, his career, he's made these receivers great. Why couldn't he do it this year?
Yeah, really. He's 42.
Oh, he's never had great weapons. Gronkowski was a top 5 tight end of all time. Aaron Hernandez, who could have been a Hall of Famer, had that
not killed somebody,
not spiraled down. Randy Moss, Edelman, Wes Welker,
he revolutionized that
the slot position.
They had Deion Branch, who wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I mean, and they had Shadow Chosinko,
he was kind of bad. He just didn't fit their scheme.
Well, but in his prime, he was a top 10 receiver.
Oh yeah.
But the thing was, but that's Belichick. Belichick knew defense wins championships. Mm. When Brady was at his best for that 10-year gap, when they didn't win a Super Bowl, when Brady was
winning his MVPs, and whatnot.
When he was at his offensive best, they didn't win.
Yeah. I think we're getting a little sidetracked talking about Tom.
Well, we could talk about Tom all day.
Well, who couldn't? Who couldn't?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Sunday game with the Vikings and Saints. And I was so happy for Captain Kirk.
Yes.
To finally, get that monkey off his back with the playoff win, saying he can't win in big moments.
Yeah.
And then the Saints, of course, started complaining again about how it's unfair with the overtime rules. And if you're as good as you say, you should stop somebody in overtime. If your team is really that good, you would make those stops when it mattered the most.
And also, the Saints were the much better team, but it took them 4 quarters to get going.
Yeah.
And then the Vikings,
and Breeze fumbled.
The Vikings just outplayed them the entire game. Like, the fact that they're going to blame the entire loss on one call. Well, who's to say that they don't go for it on 4th and goal and get it? Or that they kick the field goal and their defense stops Breeze in OT? Like, the whole, look, they got screwed over in that championship game.
There's no disputing that.
There's no. But... And
still, the 2009 game was probably one of the most rigged ever.
Oh,
the championship one
game?
Against the Vikings.
Yeah.
If you watch like there's a couple of videos on YouTube where it just shows how bad those calls were. Like Reggie Bush clearly fumbling before he passed the 4th down, and they gave it to him.
Yeah.
There was like a phantom pass interference call that helped the Saints move closer in field range. But that was 10 years ago.
They're getting screwed by bad. I'm like, stop. Every team.
I mean,
that's just your excuse for getting outplayed by a team that shouldn't have outplayed you.
Yeah,
the Vikings should not have outplayed them, but they did.
Yeah, but the Saints fans and just the Saints, they just love to complain.
Yeah, they've underachieved with the talent they've had. They've underachieved.
Yeah, Sean Payton has underachieved his whole career pretty much, besides that one run in 2009.
Yeah, and
you hear people say like Mike McCarthy wasted Aaron Rodgers' prime or whatever. What about Sean Payton?
Yeah, they haven't
all those years from 06 to 19.
They won a Super Bowl, but they haven't even made it back. That's disappointing. That the fact that, like, I mean, not to sidetrack, but like with Peyton, people coining him a playoff choker. From when they won their first Super Bowl to the end of his career in that 10 years, he made 4.
Yeah,
with all different head coaches and 2 different teams, but he still made 4 in 10 years.
Yeah, Breeze hasn't even been back yet.
Yeah, and but that's something where, and Breeze he played horrible for the first 3 quarters.
He fumbled. He threw a pick.
Yeah, both were really his fault. Like,
I know. But let's overlook that. Taysom Hill was like the hero of the game for the Saints.
Yeah, if they didn't have him on their offense, they would have literally.
Yeah, he was just making things happen.
6 points.
Yeah.
He made it an interesting game.
I think they were using Taysom Hill in that one drive where Breeze fumbled all the way. Then when they put it in Breeze's hand, he literally fumbled it away.
Yeah, but they plain and simple, the Vikings outplayed them. They were the better team that day, and the Saints they didn't know. They didn't have minus Taysom Hill. They didn't know what to do.
And they didn't know what to do with themselves.
And Breeze, like, you wonder how much he's like kind of in the same boat as Brady. Like, how much time does he really have left? His deep ball isn't that good.
He never really had a strong arm because of his surgery.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing but you saw on his pick, he tried to go deep.
Yeah, he just doesn't have it anymore.
Underthrow it completely.
But he was never really a deep thrower. Yeah. He never was. He was more of, he threw more yards than Brady. Like, Brady would just throw those 5 yards. He would throw 10.
Breeze is a stack compiler.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. But he would throw he was precise with his throws. He was very accurate, but he was never a deep thrower. No. Because he never had the arm strength.
Oh, no, he was deadly accurate and precise.
Yeah.
Look, there's no denying he's a Hall of Famer, 100%. But
he just kind of underachieved, and he's a stat compiler.
Oh, stat compiler. What was it like? We counted. It was like 7 or like 5 or 6 of his 5,000-yard and great number seasons. They didn't even make the postseason.
Yeah, and he would blow out. They would blow out teams.
And the whole they were running up the scoring teams. Like the one year when the Colts had Curtis Painter in 2011, they scored 62 points. Why?
Yeah, he was still in the fourth quarter.
To do that.
They're showing no sign of life.
Yeah, that's that whole like, oh, he has all these records, and I'm like, it's funny.
One ring.
Yeah, and he hasn't made it back to a Super Bowl. Stop. Yeah. He hasn't won an MVP.
No, he hasn't. I mean, we're getting sidetracked, but before we end this little squabble, when he played, he was always up against Brady and Manning and Peyton, and he was never better than those two.
No, in their prime, he was.
He was never better than them.
No. And he had a bad defense stop because Peyton's had bad defenses his whole.
Oh yeah, I think people forget the 06 Colts had one of the worst rush.
They had the worst ranked defense
of all time against the run.
It was 32nd in the league.
Weren't they getting they're giving up almost 200? It was like 190 something per game.
Yeah, there is.
I saw another stat real quick that they're the only team that the opposing offenses would run the ball more than pass.
Yeah,
that is disgusting.
Yeah.
That is horrendous.
Yeah, and 2 of those losses came on 60-yard field goals. Like at the
it was
end
like
of
the Jaguars, right?
The Jags and the Titans hit 60-yarders.
Baronis and was it Scobie?
Yeah.
So let's then move to the last wild card game of wild card weekend was the Seahawks and the Eagles, and
this game was kind of
we weren't really paying attention. The Eagles the Saints, not the Saints. The Seahawks were the better team. Carson Wentz got knocked out.
Even with Carson Wentz, the Seahawks were the better team.
Yeah, the Eagles only got in because Cowboys were so stupid.
They were so inept.
That's how they got in. If the Cowboys weren't stupid, the Cowboys would have played the Seahawks.
Talent-wise, the Cowboys should have been in. They should have ran train on that.
I don't know how they just completely squandered that season.
Yeah.
Coaching, but anyway, moving on. I really pay attention to that game.
Yeah,
The first game, wasn't it the Texans and Chiefs? Was that on a Saturday, I think?
Was it?
I think it was at 4 o'clock on a Saturday. No, right? Maybe? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because then it wasn't at the because then the late game that game was the Packers Seahawks. Yeah.
So the Texans. I was playing PlayStation with a friend, and then he told me the Texans were up 14-0. I was like, "What happened?" They scored a big.
I got there and they were already.
They scored a big touchdown and they blocked a punt, and then they get up to 21-0 and they're driving. Chiefs are showing no sign of life. And then it's 4th down, and what does Bill O'Brien do?
4th and 1, 4th and 2.
Yeah, and deep in the Chiefs territory.
It was their 25.
He goes for a field goal, and goes up 24-0.
Yeah, we're all talking that was a mistake.
Yeah, at that point, Chiefs are showing no sign of life. You're just run get the touchdown. If you don't get it, they're pinned. They're deep.
85 yards or something.
Yeah. So what did they do? I don't think I've ever seen this before in all these years of watching football. A team to score 51 unanswered, was it 40-something unanswered? 41 unanswered points, right?
Yeah, well, it was 44.
Yeah, and they're up 24-0 early in the second quarter, and at halftime they're down 28-24. I don't know how you let that happen.
10 minutes of football, the Chiefs scored 28.
I don't know how you let that happen. That's embarrassing. And then they end up losing 51-31, something stupid like that.
Yeah, the guy outscored 51.
J.J. Watt was just on his butt the whole game. They're hyping him up.
You could tell he was injured.
He was tired. He
was gasping for air.
Yeah. Because he was playing a competent O-line. He wasn't playing whatever the Bills have. A subway turnstop for a tackle over there. Couldn't stop him. But he just gets, you see the highlights, J.J. Watt just missing, just on the floor. Ever seen that one play with Albert Hainsworth when he was on the Redskins against the Eagles in 2010?
Which one?
Where they're playing the Eagles on Monday night, and then he gets shoved to the ground, and he's just laying there, and Vic is still running around. It's kind of like that. J.J. Watt was just bullied that game.
Yeah.
And Deshaun Watson, he was flexing his muscles or whatnot, and he's flexing now at home in front of a mirror probably. Because I don't know how you let that happen. Just as a team, that's so embarrassing.
Yeah. No. Not even just they don't go for it. 4th and 2.
Oh, what happened was the fake punt.
They fake punt it on their own 35, and the Chiefs stopped them and scored, and it was 24-14. They made it.
I don't know what you're thinking. He is so stupid.
Bill O'Brien's terrible.
I don't know why they kept him.
He will be the reason that this team doesn't
do anything,
even make a Super Bowl.
You gotta throw that out.
Bag shot, baby.
Everything was spilled. But as your dad coins him, Silly Billy, he's just so stupid.
Yeah, oh God.
They should have. I would have fired him in the locker room.
But they're kind of screwed because he traded away all their
they don't have a first round pick till 2021.
Yeah,
and he's their GM too. You want that moron as your GM?
Yeah, he's
like a McDaniels.
Yeah.
Just sabotaging the team.
They're better coordinators. The only one that shows any sign of life is Rabel.
Yeah. He looks like he just wants to put his helmet on and get out there.
Yeah, that was just bad. How do you give up 28 in one quarter? Like, even the Falcons' collapse took, like, 3 quarters to, like, fully manifest. Yeah. Or, like, or even the Colts-Chiefs comeback.
Yeah, it was like the third quarter.
Yeah, they were down 30. Was it 38-10?
Yeah, in the third quarter.
Yeah,
but the Chiefs were still scoring in that game.
Yeah, they
scored like 2 more field goals.
45-44.
Yeah.
You know, like, that was just...
It's embarrassing.
28 in one quarter.
Yeah, that's so embarrassing.
How does that happen? That's coaching. That is just...
That's 100% coaching.
Yeah.
That's just so... I don't get how you do that.
We were just watching it just like...
I was laughing at one point. Remember, I was just sitting there. I just started laughing uncontrollably.
Yeah, that was just... Oh, my God. That has to be like the worst collapse. Because it happened in 10 minutes.
It's bad enough you give up 28 unanswered points, but you let it happen before halftime. And then they missed the field goal. Just nothing was going right at that point.
Yeah.
I'm just straight up not having a good time, bro.
Joe Tessitore was probably crying.
Yeah. Probably getting like his cords, like his headset just wrapping around his neck.
That was just...
Yeah, Texans are terrible. They're stuck. They're just gonna... They're at this point...
Honestly, they shouldn't have won that division. If Luck stayed this year, the Colts had that division easily.
I mean, we're not going to talk about Brissett and his underachieving, but...
No, but still, like, the Texans will be an 11-5 team. That's
maybe
10-6.
I think that's a little
That's
generous.
what they are. They'll always be like they could have been better. But
they'll be medium talent.
They'll be like the mid-2000 Bengals with Marvin Lewis.
Yeah, they'll make playoffs.
Palmer.
They're playoff contenders, but they're just contenders.
Yeah, they're not
there.
Super Bowl contenders. Yeah. They're good enough when they play the legit teams, they get handled.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Texans shouldn't even been in the second round. The Bills just literally fumbled the game away to them. Like,
and then the second game was Packers and Seahawks. Didn't really watch this game. Didn't really care for it.
I did.
It seemed like the Seahawks just took too late to get warm, get in it.
Yeah.
And I like the Seahawks. You know, like I'm not a fan by any means, but I like Russell Wilson and whatnot. He's a good player.
The Packers overall were the better team.
Yeah, they were,
and they held out. There wasn't really much to this game. You know,
it's kind of boring.
Kind of the better team won. The Seahawks showed signs of life too late, and that was really the gist of it.
And then it was the Vikings and 49ers, and
Vikings got.
Yeah, it was like again, as you said with the Packers and Seahawks. 49ers are the better team.
Yeah, they showed it. The Vikings had the one deep play, and then the Niners just ran it down their throat. There was nothing they could do.
Jimmy G threw a boneheaded interception, as he likes to do. And we'll talk about him later.
No, but honestly, watching him in that game, when I even though his numbers weren't bad, if you watch his throws,
they're safe. And not even that, but his accuracy's terrible.
Oh, yeah. Like
he throws it behind receivers.
You see receivers catching it one-handed, or a guy has to dive down when he's going to get like 20 more yards. Like, he's not that good.
Yeah, we'll talk about him because there's plenty to talk about him later on.
But the Niners just...
They're the better team.
Well, he only threw the ball 8 times?
No, that was in the championship. I think he threw like under 20 in this game, though. He had like over 100 yards.
I think he threw like 17 times.
Yeah, something like that. Because, you know... I guess credit to Shanahan. I'll give him very little.
Yeah, well,
when they're in control, I don't know. In any game that's not the Super Bowl, he'll just stick with what works.
Yes, he ran it down both teams' throats, which he should have done in the Super Bowl. We'll get to that. But it seems that if you just took the strategy used for the past 2 weeks and just applied it, you would have been fine.
Yeah.
But never mind.
So then the next game was Superstar Lamar, the Jackson 5 against the Titans.
What I predicted came to pass.
Well, yeah, we were all talking about because we played PlayStation together, and they haven't started. They rested their starters for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yep.
And it showed their offense was stagnant, and we've seen it before. As you said, the 05 Colts.
Yeah.
The 2011 Packers did it.
The 07 Colts too. They played the Chargers, and it took their offense some time.
Too late to get started. Yeah. And and every analyst is like, Because before people were hyping up the Ravens because they're like, oh, you never see anything like Lamar. Then afterwards they're like, was it smart to rest the starters from week 16?
I saw that coming. I was just like, this is a mistake.
I mean, we've seen it happen.
Yeah, I know like some teams like they can do it, like the Patriots.
But the Patriots never do that though. They never rest their starters.
No.
They always play week 17.
Belichick's
They'll play
smart.
limited, but they always play week
Belichick's
17.
smart. That's coaching.
Yeah.
But
And I mean, for the Ravens, that has to hurt because you're the 1 seed. You're a Super Bowl favorite.
this was their best regular season record.
Yeah, they're 14-2.
Yeah. This is by far their most dominant offense ever.
Easily.
Never,
even when they had Jamal Lewis, they were never that dominant.
They had Trent Dilfer at quarterback. Like, they weren't scaring anyone.
Or they had McNair.
Or
Flacco.
McNair was good, but their offense was always good enough to complement their defense.
Yeah.
But their defense
the Ravens
was
are
their
always known
stronghold.
for their defense.
Except this year, they just took off with their offense.
Oh, yeah. The Titans knew how to shut it down because what they did was they made Lamar throw it to the sidelines, and he couldn't do that.
And stay in the pocket.
Yeah, he couldn't do that.
Yeah, look, he had an MVP season. There was no debating that.
Yeah, he was the most valuable player.
Athletically, it was a great season. Him running, scrambling around, that's fantastic. But when it came to the playoffs and he had to make throws, he couldn't.
Yeah.
He really couldn't.
It was just like last year.
And his numbers are going to look great because the Titans backed off and they let him run and do all that at the end
But he
of the
had
game.
2 picks, I think, right?
Yeah. And both
the second one was just... the first one was pretty bad.
Well, the first one, what it really showed was how ice cold their offense was. Because usually if they were playing through that and they had rhythm, he hits that throw. But he threw it too high,
And Kevin Byard was there.
Yeah.
But the second one, he threw it right to the corner.
Oh, that was terrible.
Yeah.
And he also fumbled, too. The fumble was his fault.
And they went for him 4th down a couple times, and he was being
Fourth
stupid.
and inches.
Yeah, they didn't get it.
on.
They had the best, I think, yards per average, or per carry, and they couldn't get him 4th and
they were
inches.
0 for 2. And then the fumble was his fault, too, because he gets grabbed, and he gets out of it, and instead of just doing what he does best and taking off and running, he starts pumping the ball, and every time, my dad said best, he goes, whenever a quarterback starts pumping the ball like that, it's bad news.
Yeah.
Because they're either going to throw a duck.
They're like looking to fit it in
Yeah.
when it shouldn't.
Yeah, or they're going to throw a duck, or they're going to hold on to too long. And he held on to too long, and then that guy came back around and stripped him.
Yeah.
He should have just taken
Kirk Cousins does that a lot when he panics. He
when
just pumps a
It's
lot.
bad news when a quarterback starts doing this because they're panicking.
Yeah. My first read isn't there. Oh, God, what I do? So the Ravens got knocked out, and then the championship game featured...
Not even they got knocked out. They got shut down.
Yeah, they got smacked around like an abusive husband and his wife.
Oh, my God. Come on.
It was the Chiefs and the Titans in the first part of the afternoon. And at this point, I was rooting for the AFC. I mean, when the Vikings got knocked out, I was rooting for them.
Yeah.
But I was rooting mostly for the AFC because I don't care
I
for the
wanted a
NFC.
team that hadn't won.
Yeah. So when it was the Titans and Chiefs, I didn't really care who won. I mean, I figure at this point though, like a team with a potent offense would be better.
Yeah. The only thing I just didn't like was the Chiefs got cocky.
Yeah, I know.
But that's a different, it's
But they handled the Titans pretty well. They were down by 10, I think. At one point, they're like 17-7.
Yeah, they're the only team
Ever.
after winning the Super Bowl
Yeah.
to come back behind. But the thing that distorts that stat was they came back in like one quarter each time. It wasn't like they were down.
It wasn't like
Well, I mean, look, they were down 24-0. That's
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. But they erased it in one quarter. It wasn't like it was a continual.
Well, yeah, it wasn't gradual.
And
I
they
mean,
were down, and then they were down 10 points.
I will say though, they made the big plays when they needed to the most. So
100%. I was just surprised that that this is like one of the fewer times you've seen a better offense beat a better defense.
well, like I said, we'll get to
Yeah,
that.
but anyway, but the Titans just ran out of steam.
Yeah, you can't, like if you're them, obviously every team wants to win a Super Bowl, but you have to be proud. You just squeaked into the playoffs. You took down the Patriots in the 1 seed.
Yeah.
Pretty good season for Vrabel.
Yeah, they're stepping in that right direction.
Yeah, they just need now that I think they'll probably sign Tannehill. It's probably like a safe deal. Nothing too.
Tannehill played good.
Yeah. Mariota, he's out. He's done. If they had Tannehill throughout the beginning of the year, they could easily beat the Colts. The Colts squeaked out of that one because in week 2 or whatever. Because Mariota's incompetent.
Well, Vinatieri also missed like 3.
Well, yeah, but Mariota's incompetent.
Yeah,
They could have easily won games in the beginning where they lost if they had someone more competent. And Tannehill showed that he won comeback player of the year. Good for him. But like you said, they ran out of steam, and you can't be too mad about that. Chiefs are the better team.
Yeah.
But
they were.
It won't negate the nice run they had
Yeah.
They won't negate that.
The game really was lost for the Titans when Mahomes had that 20-yard touchdown run right before halftime.
Yeah.
That was the game.
So let's talk briefly about the NFC game where the Packers again just got their pants ripped down and just spanked violently.
Rodgers just hasn't had good history in the championship.
Oh,
game.
I think it was a team loss.
No. I'm joking, but Rodgers in his championship games has not done
1-3
well.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Granted, they did blow that game against Seattle.
Well, they got dominated by the Falcons the one year.
Oh yeah, it was like 48-20
up,
something.
yeah. And then the
Jimmy G this game completed 6 for 8, like 75 yards.
Yeah.
And you're not going to tell me that, like, the people are like, oh, Rodgers played bad. They gave up 300 yards rushing. No one wins that kind of game.
Not on Rodgers.
Yeah.
He really could not do much. That front four was coming after him.
Yeah, Bosa, whatever, Armstead.
Ford.
Yeah. That clown. But when your defense gives up 300 yards, 200 and something to one guy, you're not winning that game.
Yeah. No,
there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, what was it? Mostert? He had like him and Henry had like both like in the like Henry the week before had like 200 something rusher. He had like 220.
Yeah. He had like 100 something at halftime.
Yeah, they just the Niners were the better
team.
The better team won.
You're not like gonna win when you give up that much rushing yards. Very seldom does that happen. But like Shanahan, pre-Super Bowl Shanahan, he uses what works.
He looked like he knew what he was doing. Like, all right, the Niners got it. Like,
yeah, and then they just steamrolled the Packers. And Sherman was running his mouth.
Yeah, they steamrolled both teams. Like, they looked like they had.
They looked almost not untouchable, but they looked.
What bothered me about that game was the after game when they're celebrating. They're acting like this team has never been to a Super Bowl.
They were just in one 7 years ago.
Yeah, like you've been to what? This was their 7th total. Yeah, because they won all 5, their first 5.
I thought they have 6 rings. No, they have 5. They have 5.
They have 5. The Steelers and Patriots.
Yeah.
But they won their first 5.
Now they're 5-2.
Yeah, but they act like they weren't a winning franchise. Like the Chiefs, their celebration makes sense. They hadn't been to one in over 50 years.
Yeah, it's not like they haven't won one. They haven't been to one.
Yeah.
Since Joe Buck's father was calling that the last, he was a play-by-play the last time.
Joe Buck.
Yeah, no, that crazy guy. Yeah, the Sherman was running his mouth or whatever and whatnot, like he likes to do. And comes the Super Bowl.
He got roasted.
He got burnt like a piece of toast.
We'll get to that, but but coming into the Super Bowl, I was
rooting for the Chiefs.
A lot of people are picking the Chiefs, but just watching
the Niners dominate.
Well, no, but the better defenses usually win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, easily.
I mean, like the 2013 Broncos got handled.
And the Panthers got handled in 2015.
The Panthers, the Rams against the Patriots.
Yeah, in the biggest
the 07 Patriots.
Yeah.
Their offense got handled.
What was that one guy, Jay Alford?
Oh,
one play wonder.
He just picked up Brady. But like historically, the better defense wins.
Yeah.
And so I just going off of that.
Yeah, historically speaking, yeah.
It makes more sense that that the Niners would win. And it looks like they were going to.
It was 20-10.
The game. They just
under
got
8 minutes
with like 7:30 to go.
Well, before we get to that, Mahomes looked rattled throughout the whole game. He looked really nervous.
I know, like not many people agree. He shouldn't have gotten MVP.
Damian Williams should have.
Oh, he had 140 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns.
I think it was 104. I think
he had like 140 total.
Oh yeah.
But he had 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving, 1 rushing.
But Mahomes played bad though.
He played good in the last 7 minutes.
Yeah, I mean he made the plays when it mattered, but like his interceptions. I mean the first one was what
it was a bad read. So he
threw it right to the linebacker. Yeah,
he scrambled out and he thought the linebacker wasn't going to stay, but he threw it right at him. Second one was his
behind Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, and it got tipped up. But he just did not play. He did not play good until the last 6 minutes of the game.
He did play well. We're not saying Mahomes is bad. He played well when it mattered, but up until that point when they started...
That's not MVP worthy.
Yeah, when they started to dig that hole for themselves where he was just just antsy. He looked really nervous, you know.
Yeah, he goes from flexing in the championship game to he just looks like a deer in the headlights.
As your dad would say with Peyton sometimes when he looked nervous in the playoff game, he's like, oh, God.
Yeah,
Deshaun Watson last year looked really nervous. Luck was smiling.
They just look rattled.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know what to do. And so you get to that. So the first half was a good half. You know, both teams showed their – but the key of the first half, Shanahan, what the –
monkey.
Yeah. What are you doing, dude? They stop them with like
a minute
and like 40 to go.
They let it run.
And they let it run down. They get the ball back. They still have all 3 timeouts, and then they run it. And you see even John Lynch was like,
Call timeout.
Your
GM.
And so then they get to like 30 seconds.
They do a big play, but it gets negated.
Called back, which, you know,
he looked like he was extending and pushing his arm.
Kittle really didn't need to.
He had
like 5
Sorensen.
inches on the guy.
Yeah.
Like, and then they end up going in the half 10-10. And so that was a big part. That you kind of saw in Shanahan, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Kinda, and then so they get up, and so the third quarter, they
just dominated.
They dominated. And then they go in early into the halfway through the fourth quarter. It's 20 to 10. So the Chiefs are kind of driving, getting some life back. And then
he
Mahomes
throws the pick.
Throws the pick with like 7.5 minutes to go. And I don't know what.
Or maybe it was like 10.
No, it was 7.5 minutes.
Didn't they score with 7 minutes left the first time?
No.
Oh, no?
This is what made the collapse worse.
Oh.
There was 7.5 minutes. They got the pick. It was like the game is
over, yeah.
Yeah, like
I felt like it was over at that point.
Because all they had to do was just run the ball.
And when they they were doing those sweeps with Deebo Samuel, and they were getting good gains on that. Yeah. And then he wanted Jimmy G to be a hero, I guess. I don't know why. I don't know what you're thinking. Mostert was getting good gains.
Dude, they were averaging 6 yards a carry. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the game was put to their strength. That's like
run out the clock.
It's not like
you're good. You're
done.
Like
they were down 20-10 with 7 seconds. It's like, all right, we got to throw the ball and get down the field.
Yeah.
They had the game
and to their strength.
Yeah, and so they on those 2 drives before they had to try to go and tie the game up or take the lead. They had 8 plays. They ran 8 plays. 5 of those 8 they threw the ball.
Just stupid.
Yeah, and they didn't do play action to fool them. They did like standard dropbacks or shock them where they knew it was coming.
Just stupid.
So the first drive they throw an incomplete, like, you know, they run it, then they throw 2 incompletions and punt the ball, and then 3rd and 15, their defense gives up a 45-yard play to Tyreek Hill, which I don't know how you let happen. Like, I know their defense was gassed, but that's all Tyreek Hill can do is run straight. I'm sorry, he's not like, to me, he's not like a legit receiver where it's 3rd and 15 or 3rd and 8, and you're going to throw it over the middle, and he's going to make the spectacular catch.
Yeah.
To me,
it was like he was fielding a punt on that play. Yeah. He was so wide open.
Yeah, and he's
they score quickly.
Great fantasy player.
Oh, yeah.
But like a legit receiver.
They scored a Kelsey a couple plays later.
And so when they scored touchdowns, like, this game's over. The Chiefs won this one because, and then the next drive, Shanahan still, and
Shanahan
there was like 5 minutes left because the Chiefs didn't kill any time to score.
Yeah.
And so, I think they did like a rollout or something like that. Or no, they did like a normal throw, and Kittle was open, but Jimmy G's accuracy comes in to kill him.
There was a couple times where he missed Kittle.
He threw it low where Kittle had to dive and catch. He could have caught it and ran for 30 yards.
Yeah, Kittle was fast for a time.
Yeah, and then they get stopped. And they punt it away, and the Chiefs go right down the field.
And at this point, their defense is just completely tired because they just gave up a big plays after big play after big play. And then Sherman gets roasted.
Dude, he got roasted by Sammy Watkins. Dude, I just love, first off, Sherman, like, to compare him to Darrelle Revis, you can't, because Darrelle Revis played actually man-to-man and locked down their best receiver. And when he was in his prime, he did a great job.
He was shut down.
And Sherman, his entire scheme, part of the Legion Boom, was he stayed one side.
And he always had all-pro safeties
Cam Chancellor,
covering
Earl
him.
Thomas.
Who did Darrelle Revis, when he was on the Jets, had like Jim Leonard?
Yeah. But
Jim
Leonard was a better tackler than a coverage guy.
Yeah. Brodney Poole. Eric Smith. mean, when he went to the Patriots, he had like McCourty and Chung. But that was for a season.
Well, he had Cromartie on the other side, but
Cromartie was just more like Cromartie was good, but he was like ridiculously fast too. He would make like those ridiculous like interceptions.
But that like in his prime, like this wasn't Cromartie in his prime though. It was getting towards the end of it.
Yeah, a little bit. It was like when he was on the Chargers.
Yeah. God, he gave Peyton such problems. But yeah, and then so Sherman so he stays as one side, and it's not even Tyreek Hill he's getting roasted. He's getting roasted by Sammy Watkins.
I know.
And the thing about that gets me about Sherman is, that whole championship game against the Niners, you shut down Michael Crabtree.
Yeah,
he's a poor man's first wide receiver.
And he wasn't even the number one receiver on that team. Anquan Bolden was.
You know what I mean? Like he's a great number two.
Yeah,
Crabtree. Like he might be the epitome of a great number two, but you shut him down. You know what I mean? Like you didn't shut down.
I don't know why Kaepernick even threw that ball. He was never open.
Yeah, and that was a bad throw too. And then his entire career is off of that one. And then you can't shut down Edelman the next. Yeah, whatever. Anyway. He gets roasted by Sammy Watkins, and he just looked off this game. Like, he just...
Sherman?
Yeah.
He's slow.
Yeah. And then Tyreek Hill, the one play, broke his ankles. And, I mean, the Niners' D-line did their job.
Yeah, Bosa played well.
They got at Mahomes, and they rattled him. But the game...
It looked like Bosa was coming out like a missile at Mahomes.
If he stays healthy, he'll be a beast.
Yeah.
It's only his rookie year, so you gotta give him time. But, I get really sidetracked with that.
Yeah. But then they score again. Yeah. Damian Williams scores again.
So then now the Niners got like 2 minutes. They got to go down the field, score a touchdown, and
Jimmy G gets sacked on fourth down or something like that.
Well, he missed.
It's Emmanuel Sanders wide open. He beat the safety and corner, just split them like the Red Sea, and he just missed it.
Yeah, that's just.
There's your whatever $100 million something quarterback.
Yeah. And then he gets sacked on the next play, and then the Chiefs not even to ice and get the first down.
And I was thinking, like, just get the first down. I just see Damian Williams just break off. I just started laughing.
Yeah.
Then Jimmy G throws his second pick.
Yeah.
Game
Both
over.
picks were bad.
Yeah, the first one...
He literally, just shot put it up.
I mean, at that point, you just take the sack. You're going to get hit anyway. Yeah. He just gets drilled to the ground, and he gets intercepted. And the second one was just desperation.
Yeah.
But... Jimmy G literally threw the game away. They were doing well with like the runs, the play action.
Well, Shanahan just.
Well, yeah, it's his play calling too.
You should never have put your faith in Jimmy G.
And there was a stat that Stephen A. Smith pointed out in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl 51 and 54. Shanahan and overtime including those. Shanahan has not scored a single point and has been outscored 46-0 in the fourth quarter of both those games and overtime.
Drop a 40 burger on them.
They didn't after the third quarter. They didn't score at all.
Yeah. The best thing I heard about it is these coaches like McVay and all these young fancy.
When it matters the most, like they can't do anything.
They can't help themselves. They
try to get too cute, too creative.
People want to watch like college football because it's high scoring, flashy, and all stuff. But you know what wins games?
Defense.
Fundamentals.
Oh, that too.
Like I get the lack of better terms, the standard like plain football. It's just
now we have all these guys in motion. Yeah, who's got the ball?
Yeah, you're just turning and handing it off, throwing simple passes. That wins games because you know what? It moves the ball.
You're not doing anything stupid.
Yeah, all they had to do was literally run the ball. I'm not saying their offense had to score again. All they
kill the clock.
Literally kill off 3 minutes. Dude, they could have they had enough time to do the punt thing. They could have killed off 2 minutes on the punt alone and then just punted it and give Mahomes when they're up 20-10, 3 minutes, he gets the ball back. Yeah. And then say your defense let them score, but it's under 2 minutes, then they got to get the onside kick. And that's not an easy thing to do.
And like you said, they're averaging 6 yards per carry. That's just... And you wonder with Shanahan and all that nonsense, are they going to have a Super Bowl hangover as bad as the Falcons, where they're just not the same team?
I think they're going to go 8-8 next year.
That is such a confidence killer.
Yeah.
I mean, if you lose the Super Bowl, it's never good. But when you blow a lead like that,
they should have won it.
They really should have won the Super Bowl. They outplayed, besides Jimmy G, but they outplayed
3.5 quarters.
They outplayed the Chiefs in like every single like statistical category. They outplayed them.
They had the Chiefs where they won them, a low-scoring defensive battle.
Yeah, Chiefs looked like they were getting frustrated. Everyone's probably going to wonder about Andy Reid's legacy.
Yeah.
If he lost another
I'm happy
Super Bowl.
Reid won.
Oh, I'm
with
100%
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
You know, no, that wasn't his
'Cause
fault. He was stuck
he-
with McNabb his whole
Yeah.
like most of his career.
I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, no doubt.
oh yeah,
Andy Reid.
now like there's no doubt about whether he could get it done in the big game
Yeah.
or not.
I mean, he was what 2-6 in the championship game, but he got.
He made
done.
it that many times
I mean,
though.
which is amazing.
Yeah, a lot. Like I think it's 4 consecutive.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, McNabb is just as big as a choke artist as Reed's play calling is. When it mattered the most, McNabb cannot
He
get
didn't
it
even
done.
know there was overtime.
McNabb is just something else. Always throwing those dumb
The highlight of his career is the
throwing up in the Super Bowl.
I was gonna say the chunky Campbell
Oh.
chunky
Oh.
at the soup commercials.
Yeah, Campbell, yeah, whatever. I like to talk about when he threw up in the Super Bowl.
Oh.
Literally just in the huddle, and just came pouring out.
Belichick did the Jedi mind trick on him.
Yeah, but we're happy for Coach Reid.
Yeah.
Congrats.
It annoys me that Mahomes, because he's the quarterback, they gave him the MVP immediately.
Yeah,
Like,
I was
really, it
thinking
should have been
Damian
the running
Williams. He played well. He had that
Yeah.
touchdown. I think he was averaging a fair amount.
Yeah, Mahomes' numbers look good, but he got like 150 in like 7 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't.
And his interceptions were pretty bad.
Yeah, he played. They got the one throw up,
And that just like gave them all the momentum.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it's 3rd and 15.
How?
They just give up a 45-yard
to the one player
bomb.
you can't like.
Yeah. Make him throw it to Watkins, whatever. Don't let Tyreek Hill just run rampant.
Yeah.
That's coaching.
Not that I cared that the Niners blew the game. What annoyed me was as a fan of the game, playing it, and doing it astounds me the stupidity behind these coaches.
Yeah, I don't know how you do
They
that.
have it, and the common sense befalls them. Like they just don't know what to do. Like my dad said best. He goes, "These guys, they just can't help themselves." These coaches, these young coaches, you've seen mostly against the Patriots. These guys have them. And then
they just don't know what to do.
They give the game right away, and it's like they can't help themselves. Let's get flashy, and I'm like, all you had to do was run the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I say with Vrabel. He stuck with what worked against the Patriots.
And you know what? The Chiefs
and against the Ravens, they just stuck with what worked. That's why I like Vrabel.
Yeah.
I mean, he just looks like a funny guy, but I guess he learned from Belichick. He never was under his coaching tree. He was
do
with
what works.
He was with I think O'Brien and Cornell.
Yeah.
But he played with them. He was in that system in New England.
I'm
Do your job.
Shanahan's going to become like a McVay or like a Nagy, where it's like they have a lot of talent, but they don't do anything with it.
I mean, with Shannon is worse.
Yeah.
First, it's bad enough you blew a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Then you do it again. You blew a 10-point lead.
And I know a lot of people, he wasn't the head coach, but he was calling the plays.
It was the play call. I mean, yeah, the defense didn't help. Yeah, it's some of it, but you're killing them with their outside runs with Coleman and Freeman.
Well, it's
you're
like
killing them.
Yeah, it was like the Jags, Patriots.
Yeah, you're
championship
absolutely killing the Patriots. You have them right where you want them. Let's have Matt Ryan step back. Oh, strip sack. Oh, the Patriots get it.
2 sacks in a row. In a row.
And we get a holding call.
How does that happen?
Oh no.
You know how you don't get sacked and get holding calls?
Just run the ball.
Run the ball. That was so bad. Like, run it up the middle. Usually when it's like when you're running up the middle, holding calls aren't called. It's usually on these exotic plays. Yeah, exactly. When it's up the middle. Well, we didn't talk about the Titans-Chiefs game where it was 3rd and 1 and the ref threw the flag before the play started. I remember
that.
There was a play. It was 3rd and 1. I think the Chiefs were going for it. And as soon as the ball got snapped,
They called a flag.
they threw a flag, but they didn't say what it was for.
Oh.
No. There's some questions, but
Yeah. I'd say in terms of the chain gang in the Super Bowl, it's pretty clean.
chain gang.
Yeah. Chain gang.
But
Wasn't too many bad calls.
no, the refs actually let them play.
Yeah, which I like.
Yeah, let it.
It was like last year's Super Bowl, a lot of flags.
Shanahan, McVay, all these it's like this young guy for head coach, and he has these exciting plays, but when it comes down to
It's
fundamentals,
like people talk about them like they're in some kind of male magazine, Men Under 40. He's flashy.
Yeah, McVay, he's the young genius.
He's stylized.
The young genius conjured up 3 points in the Super Bowl. The worst losing effort ever.
Yeah. I think who's the second worst? Like probably one team.
No, the
scoreless.
Chargers. The Chargers, and they lost 56-7. And then it was
I don't think the Chargers ever lost that bad, was it?
That was the game.
Or was the Broncos? Was that the Broncos? I think the Chargers only been in one Super Bowl.
Yeah, and they got blown out.
By the Niners. It was like 44-20.
I thought that was the game where Steve Young threw his like 6.
Yeah, but the Chargers still scored like 20 points, I think. Look it up. I'm telling you. Oh, I'll look it up. My phone's right here. What Super Bowl was that? Do you know the number?
Just do Chargers, Niners Super Bowl.
Keep your secrets then. Chargers versus Niners Super Bowl. Let's see. Okay, we got the results. It was in Miami. Wow, look at that. 49ers. Do you guess how much the 49ers were favored by?
Like 20.
18.5. And they won 49-26.
Oh wait, so then who was it? Was it
the Colts? They lost 16-7 against the Jets.
No, there was another. There was a Super Bowl. The Niners won 56-7.
That was against the Broncos. It's 55-10.
55-10.
Yeah, it was 89, I think, or 88. I think it was 88 because then I think in 89 they beat the Bengals.
Well, the Broncos when they lost 44-8.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I mean, the Colts in that 16-7. I mean, there were a couple that, but 3 points.
Yeah, I mean that was just bad.
Yeah, that game was just both. That was a boring game because both offenses were so inept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jared Goff, look where he's at. Yeah, that was a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and then but McVay, like everyone was, he's a young genius. No, how do you over prepare for a Super Bowl? It's the biggest game of your career. You over prepared. I guess he underprepared this season because they didn't make the playoffs.
9-7.
Yeah, they're overrated.
They're kind of stuck. The Rams.
Well,
they did the pay to win. Now they got Ndamukong Suh, whatever. They traded a bunch of players
Donald on their team. He's dominant.
Yeah, but now he's stuck on a bad team.
Yeah, they didn't use Gurley at all this year.
Yeah, I guess he tried to prove
they're stuck with Jared Goff.
Yeah, there's so many teams that could be so good and do so well, but they're stuck with just inept quarterbacks.
And their coaches don't help. Like, I mean, the Bears, Trubisky's terrible. He can't throw over 10 yards. That guy is bad. The fact that they have to do these, wildcat formations just shows. But...
And they're not stuck with him. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They're not stuck with him, and they treat it like they are.
He's rookie contract, right?
Yes, I believe so.
And they didn't pay him that much, right?
Yeah, just at most 20-something million. There's no... Sam Bradford was the last person that they paid all that money for.
If anything, keep Trubisky, but go get another quarterback. Trubisky would be a great backup. He comes in if the guy gets hurt. Maybe
he knows the system.
Yeah, has a good half.
Yeah, you're not stuck with him though. You could afford him to sit on the sideline. You can afford it.
That's about how much I'd pay him to sit on the sideline. And Nagy, he should not have gotten Coach of the Year. It's
because they won 12 games.
Yeah, but Reich should have gotten it. They were 1-5, and then they almost win their division, and then they won in the playoffs too. And Nagy
got silly
against but this year was
truly a copycat league.
Yeah, this year was an interesting year for the NFL. I will say, I didn't expect the Ravens to dominate the way they did.
Oh no way. Can we talk about real quick? Lamar Jackson won unanimous MVP, the second player ever to do it.
Who was the first?
Tom. In 2010.
His 50. Peyton wasn't unanimous when he dropped the 49
He was not.
burger?
One person voted for Tom.
Yeah. Okay.
That makes sense, doesn't
even though
it?
Peyton...
55. I think Tom threw 26.
Wait, Peyton was unanimous when he threw the 55 either?
No, he wasn't.
Neither one of his, when he broke the records, he wasn't...
Nope.
How?
I don't know. Because there's an article on NFL.com where one guy was saying Peyton won MVP, but he wasn't unanimous because one voter was selfish, decided to vote against him just to spite him. Yeah. That's just messed up.
You know what's funny is Peyton's 49 touchdowns versus Tom's 50, even though Tom threw more. They were running up the score. Peyton sat six and a half quarters. Yeah. Oh, no, 6 quarters. That's a game and a half he sat. They could have ran up the score.
Oh, easily.
Tom could have never touched that record, but the Colts aren't, Anyway.
You're saying it was an interesting year, though?
Yeah.
I didn't think the Chiefs were going to win, honestly.
My dad called that. He said, I like the Chiefs.
Yeah, he did.
Because,
he did say that. They were quiet.
They flew under the radar.
Because last year, everyone was like, everyone was gushing about Mahomes, whatnot, of whether he's going to live up to the 50 touchdowns, and no one can. That's just an unfair expectation.
Peyton threw the most after a season like that. What he threw?
39.
Yeah.
That's just a dumb expectation. Can they match that success?
Yeah.
No. Like I said, Peyton threw 55 one year, threw 39 the next. Tom got injured his next one.
Yeah. Peyton could have been the only guy to have 250 touchdown seasons.
Who's the other one?
Well, no, because Brady, Mahomes, and Peyton are the only ones to throw 50.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, he could have done it twice, but
yeah,
no one else would have come close. But yeah, and then I mean, I'm not going to talk about the Colts. That was a train wreck.
Eli Manning retired in recent news. I guess we could talk about that. But
yeah.
For a couple minutes before we have to end the show.
We also have to get to
what? I don't have much time.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. So Eli Manning retired a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. I guess the question is he or is he not a Hall of Famer?
And I would say he is a Hall of Famer. Not first ballot. I would say he's a Hall of Famer. Because yes, it's 2 Super Bowl runs, but he played amazing in those 2 runs.
Yeah,
and you could always rely on Eli.
And his numbers are good enough, you know.
He's top 10 in everything, with his numbers and whatnot.
And
you have to look at what he had. People are like, his defense won those games. His defense overachieved.
Yeah.
The defense.
I mean, his receiver Plexico in his prime was never that good. I mean, he was good, but he wasn't.
He was on the Steelers.
Amani Toomer, Kevin Boss, and Jake Ballard were his tight ends for the Super Bowl.
He had.
I mean, their run game was phenomenal.
Yeah.
But how he played in those games was ridiculous.
Yeah. His defense just overachieved, like in those runs, especially the D line.
But he threw 2 of the greatest passes I've ever seen.
Oh yeah,
the Manningham one
is a lot better than the Tyree one.
But the Tyree
is just a miracle.
But still though, yeah, he'd never make that throw again. But the pinpoint how he threw it, like
you're right in the Tyree's
hands as he has
puts it on his helmet, iconic.
Yeah. I would love for Eli to get into the Hall of Fame, and I certainly would back it if he does, but I can also see the argument. I can see both sides. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Without those playoff runs, if you look at his career in a whole.
Well, he'd be like a Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, and Phillip Rivers to me isn't a Hall of Famer.
Which begs the question also, is Roethlisberger a Hall of Famer?
Yeah. Because they just...
He holds a record not many people are aware of. Worst passer rating to ever win a Super Bowl.
Well, that was another
20-something.
That was another Super Bowl where the calls were very.
I think it was 22.9.
Yeah.
I think it was like 9 for 22, no touchdowns, 2 picks, like just over 100. Played terrible.
Yeah. That's the all 3 of those guys. I don't look. I think the Roethlisberger and Eli, you make a case for Rivers now.
Yeah.
To me, he's.
And they had the thing with the Chargers is they had talent. They could have.
06.
Well, yeah, they were 14-2 that year, but they always probably from their window was 06 to 2010. They had a really good team. Yeah. Besides 08, but their division was bad.
Yeah.
But they had a really good team. They had LaDainian Tomlinson on defense. They had Sean Merriman, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
They had Cromartie. They had good pieces.
Yeah. That
they just couldn't get it done when it mattered.
Yeah, that was there was like the 3 Stooges. You had in that stretch of time, the Colts gave the Patriots problems, the Patriots gave the Chargers problems, and the Chargers gave the Colts problems. Because the Chargers could beat the Colts, but they couldn't beat the Patriots.
And the Colts could beat the Patriots, but they seldom in the playoffs. At least they couldn't beat the Chargers.
No, they struggled. But yeah, I think you give Eli and me not first ballot. But
yeah, I don't think regardless if you think he is first ballot or not, the people voting aren't going to give him that.
But now I wonder, are the standards getting lowered?
I mean, you have coaches now. I saw Edge made the Hall of Fame. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, Edge.
Yeah, he's another one. I mean, Troy Polamalu definitely.
Oh, yeah, first ballot.
But Jimmy Johnson, look, he has the 2 Super Bowls, but he only has 98 career wins.
Including postseason.
Like Bill Cowher, I get. He has 150 wins, made 2 Super Bowls, won one. He's not a first ballot.
Yeah.
I mean,
but Jimmy Johnson,
he's only 98 career wins, and it's like if you're going to talk about his overall coaching, you can't include college. You can't.
Yeah.
He was great in college, but that's not the NFL. And you wonder also too, it kind of puts a stain on his legacy when Dallas with a new coach won the Super Bowl.
Switzer, right?
And they could have, and they were close to winning a 4th. They just lost to the Niners. I mean, so was it really Jimmy Johnson? Or was it the team? Yeah, I mean the team fell apart quickly, but they still won another Super Bowl and they were close to winning another.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he only won 98 career games. I'm sorry, that's not enough.
Coughlin has more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good point with, is the standards getting lowered?
I mean, because Edge...
I don't think he was a Hall of Famer.
He was
good. He was good.
Great for the first half of his career, but...
And then when he went on the Cardinals and then the Seahawks.
Yeah, he bounced around. After the 05 year, yeah, you know...
I think he has 10,000 rushing yards.
I mean, but then again, running backs, you know, if you get 5-6 good years, I mean...
Terrell
Davis, Gale Sayers.
He played in a different time.
But he only played like 6 years, though.
That was like the 1960s he was playing in.
Yeah, but Jim Brown was before him, and he played 10 years. I mean...
Wasn't Gale Sayers the one whose friend died? There's like a movie about that.
Yeah. Brian's song?
Yeah.
Barry Sanders, 10 years. Earl Campbell only played like 8. You know what I mean? The running backs are different.
Funny how they won without Edge.
Yeah, they get a die for it. That's the one year he didn't juke anyone.
Even Rhodes played pretty well, too.
Yeah. They could have gotten the co-MVP.
Yeah.
That Super Bowl. But, yeah, I mean, this year it was, you know... It
was interesting.
Yeah,
better than last year.
Yeah, I think this year is a transitional year. You're starting to see that era of like what was Brady, Manning.
Yeah, they're all dying.
Breeze, it's kind of going out.
You're gonna get like people like Mahomes, like the strict pocket. I think it's the end of the strict pocket passers that we're so accustomed to seeing.
Yeah,
and you get like people like Mahomes that can really scramble.
Jackson,
then you get people
Watson,
like Lamar Jackson who just run.
Yeah, and Deshaun
and Josh Allen who just run. They can't really throw.
Yeah. It might just be the AFC. They're all the AFC.
Hey, Rodgers is old too.
Yeah, he's getting to that talent. I think this
Cousins is 31.
Yeah, I think Rodgers. I don't think Rodgers and Breeze are winning another Super Bowl.
No, they're not. Yeah. Roethlisberger's probably done. Rivers might be done.
Rivers should be done.
All these players we've seen grow up are just dying.
I don't get the whole is Brady going to go to a team? Like, why would you take him?
He's 43.
He can't move.
Hey, he's elusive.
Yeah. Like Rivers, what is he gonna do, man? Like, come on.
You're just picking on him.
Rivers has been mediocre for the past 4 years. Actually, make that longer.
I think his last good year is 2013.
Yeah, it's 5 years, but anyway.
I think that's all the time we have today.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about. I believe next episode we're going to talk about. We saw Star Wars over the winter break, even though we said we wouldn't, but. We saw that, so next week we'll talk about that.
We'll touch on
and we'll have the other guy back.
We'll also talk about the
Super Bowl,
the family movie of the year, Fast and Furious 9.
Yeah. All right. Until next time, take care of your balls, and they'll take care of you.